Okay, so in the last session we discussed about changing ownership, changing group. Okay, next in this session we'll discuss about introduction to shells. Okay, so in this chapter we'll discuss about introduction to shell, what is shell, Unix sessions, current shell. Okay, what is the current shell? There is a command to check the present shell. Next to standard streams, redirection operators, pipe symbols, T command. What is the command execution process? Quotes, we have different quotes, single quote, double quotes, where we use single quotes, where we use double quotes. Okay, and backslash characters in this. And next to command substitution, how to submit a command. Okay, what are the different ways? Single command execution, multiple commands execution in a single line. So these are all we'll discuss in the command substitution. Next to job control, how to see the jobs which are running in this session or server, how to control these jobs. Suppose if you want to kill some jobs, there are some commands to kill the jobs or manage these jobs. Okay, next to aliases, we have already seen one example I guess on this, how to create aliases, how to see already created aliases. And next to variables, we have different variables like system variables. As a user we can create our own variables. Okay, so what is the difference between system variable and user variable, how to declare these variable, how to assign values to this variable, different values, okay, like integers or strings or characters, anything. So assign to this variable. So all these we'll discuss in this chapter. Okay, so first introduction to shell. So the shell is nothing but it is the part of Unix that is the most visible to the user. As a user already we interacted with the shell, and if you remember the architecture of Unix, your hardware first basic level will be hardware, above the hardware kernel, above this kernel shell, and above this shell user. So user will submit the commands at the shell, shell will submit this command after interpreting to the kernel. So first it will take the command, it will interpret the command. Okay, interpret is nothing but changing, conversion. Okay, so convert this particular command to the kernel understandable format and submit it to the kernel. Kernel will run this particular command at hardware level. Okay, so on the hardware. So this is nothing but shell. In Unix operating system we have different shells. In Unix operating system we have different kinds of shells like Bourne shell, C shell, corn shell. So mainly we use this corn shell and we'll write all the scripts using corn shell, in corn shell. So those scripts to execute or run in the corn shell. Okay, so this is C shell. C shell is nothing but it is the syntax. I mean mostly here the syntax is similar to the C program or C statement. So that's why it is C shell. Next Bourne shell. Okay, so this Bourne shell we are mainly concentrating on corn shell. We don't use this Bourne shell. Okay, so this corn shell is developed at AT&T laboratories. This corn shell is developed at AT&T laboratories. This is developed by David Korn. Okay, so this is C shell. This C shell is Bill, he is the developer. And coming to Bourne shell, this is also developed at AT&T labs only. But this Bourne shell was used in olden days. Okay, nowadays mostly we are using corn shell. Generally this is the popular one, this is the advanced one which we are using. Okay, so next Unix session. Unix session, we discussed what is shell. Okay, so what is Unix session? Session is nothing but from the point of login to the logout, that the between the login to logout, this particular thing is called as a session. So session is nothing but first user will log in using the user login ID and password. So first to login into the user using user ID and password. If you log into the system, you will get command prompt. That is, your command prompt is dollar symbol. Okay. So if you log in into the system using user ID and password, you will get command prompt. Okay. So from this particular point, what is the next step? So you will execute at the command prompt. You will execute some commands. Okay. So this command prompt receive commands. This command prompt will receive commands. Means you can execute some commands at this command prompt. So command prompt will receive the commands and it will execute the command. Okay. So while executing the command, first it will check whether this particular or submitted command is syntactically correct or not. So after submitting or when the command prompt receive command from the user, first it will check whether this particular command is right or wrong, means syntactically right or wrong. Okay. Right. Okay. So first it will check whether this command is right or wrong. If it is right, means if syntactically the command is correct, then it will run the command. If not, it will display error message. Okay. We have seen many examples. Okay. So if it is correct, then it will execute the command. Otherwise, it will display error messages, the respective error message. What is the problem in this one? After this step, okay, so whatever the commands you want to execute or you want to run, whatever the programs you want to run, after completing your task, what you will do? You will log out from the system. Okay. So this particular enter right from the login to log out, this is nothing but one session. In the last session, we have seen one example. Suppose I try to run some command, but unfortunately that was not executed. So using sudo command, we execute that command. As a super user, we executed that command. And next time when you use the same sudo, it doesn't ask for the password like at the time of first. Okay, first when we are trying to execute sudo, it will ask for password. Later it didn't. Okay, so throughout the session, it recognizes. Once you log out from the system and log in, again it will ask. Okay, so from login point to logout point, this is nothing but one session. Okay, so how to log out? Using exit command. So using this command, or sometimes you can use quit command also. Okay, fine. So using this exit command, you can log out from the system. By providing login credentials, you can log in into the system. By providing credentials like login name and password. So by providing this information, you can log into the system. After login, you can run your commands. You can see the command prompt. This command prompt allows you to execute some commands. While executing the command, it will check whether this particular command is correct or not, syntactically correct or not. If the command is syntactically correct, then it will execute the command and the respective output you will get. So where you will get the output? Based on the redirect operator. Suppose the default one is your screen. Default output media is your screen. If you redirect the output to some other files, your output will be redirected to the file. So like this, whatever the commands you want to run, whatever the work you want to do, so after completing this work, you can log out from the system. Okay, so you can log out from the shell. So this entire thing is nothing but a session. Every user login is nothing but that creates a session. Okay, so you will be having one session. If some other user is logged in, then that user will have his own session. Okay, means how do you know that? How do you come to know that that particular user is having his own session? whatever the user is working, whatever the user is executing the commands, those commands you cannot able to see. Okay, what you can see? Only your session. You can see only your session. Whatever the commands you are executing, you can see, and you can see the output of the command. Okay, so whatever the work you are doing, that cannot be visible. Okay, why? Because you are having your own dedicated session. If some other user is logged into the system, the same system, okay, so there is one server is nothing but more than one user can log into the server and they can do their work. Okay, so that user will have their own session and they can run their commands. All these commands will be executed at the kernel. Okay, again, fine. So this is nothing but user session. This is nothing but user session. Next one, how do I verify that the current session is particular thing? Okay, how do I know? How do I come to know? Okay, what is my shell? What is my shell? So how do you verify the login session? How do you verify login session? That we'll see. There is a command. Using this command, you can check what is your shell. See here, now I log into this system, I am getting command prompt. Here I can run any Unix command. Okay, if this command is syntactically correct, then the command will be executed. Suppose I am trying to run this command ls-lrt. Okay, so is this particular command is syntactically correct? No. Why? Because after ls there should be minimum one space. So you will get respective message like the command not found, command not found. Okay, so if this command is syntactically okay, then you will get the output. Okay, here if I say exit, I can close this one. So that is nothing but, so now I created one session. If some other is logged into the system, they can create these sessions. Like, so this is independent PC, right? The next example is I am going to check what is my shell. Okay, so to check the shell name, there is a variable shell. There is a variable, system variable. I can say system variable, this one. So generally system variable, we have separate topic. There we will discuss what is system variable, what is user variable. Okay, so generally why do we mention or why do we use capital letters for system variables? So we have separate topic on this. There we will discuss. So shell is right now, shell is a system variable. Okay, this variable stores what is your shell. Okay, I am trying to output this one, output this variable value. So I can use echo command. This echo command will output some messages or variable values. Okay, so here echo, to display the variable value, use dollar symbol and variable name. To display the variable value, either the variable can be a system variable or it can be a user variable. You can use dollar. We have different, we will use some other characters also, but when that particular topic comes, there we will discuss. Okay, so echo dollar shell. Shell is a system variable. To display the system variable, use the variable value, use the dollar symbol, and to output the value, use echo statement. Now press enter. So this is your shell. This is your shell. Now this is bash. Okay, we will see how to change shells. Okay, we'll use k shell, right? So this variable will display your current shell. Next one, there is another command, echo $0. Okay, so 0 is nothing but your first parameter, 0th one. Okay, so $0, this will display the shell verification, current shell verification. See here, bash. So this is your bash shell and this is the path of your shell. Okay, so $0 will display the, see we have some parameters. First parameter, the first parameter can be used with $0. Okay, sorry, $1, first parameter $2 and so on. like this we can refer parameter value. Okay, so $0 is nothing but your command or shell name. Okay, so your shell is bash shell and this is the path of your bash shell. Okay, so these are the two commands used to check the shell as well as shell path. Okay, next one, standard streams. Stream is nothing but it is a media. It can be input stream or output stream. Okay, so stream is nothing but it is some media. Okay, see here I am able to type. I am pressing one key. Okay, I N P U T. So how can I am using keyboard. Using keyboard, I am inputting some text. Whatever the text inputted, I can able to see it on the monitor. Okay, so here keyboard is your input stream, and monitor is your output stream. Okay, we have input and output streams. These streams are used to input data or to see the output. These streams are used to input data. Input streams are used to input data. Output streams are used to see the output. Okay, so basically we have only two kinds of streams. One is input and another one is output. So but coming to output, again here we have different kinds of output. Like you can get output onto the screen, or you can get output to a file. You can send output to screen, means your monitor. You can send output to a file. Okay, so these are the two output streams, or both also. In some cases both. We have one command, T command. This command, see bottom, here we have one command. It allows to send output to multiple, okay, files or screens or both. Okay, so generally your input stream also, it can be some keyboard or a file. We have seen one example how to send output to a file. Okay, we'll see one example how to take input from a file. In your real-time programming or scripting, you will use this. Okay, suppose you are doing some operations on tables or something else. Okay, so you will take one by one table from a file, or you can take one by one line from a file. So this file is the input to this particular operation. Okay, so here input can be keyboard or a file, output can be sent to a file or screen. Okay, so as you wish. So how do we send this particular output to a file or take input from a file? We have redirection operators. Using these redirection operators, we can send output to a file, or we can take input from a file. Okay, so we know one output redirection operator, that is greater than, and also we know greater than, yes, greater than. These two are output redirection symbols, and we have one input redirection symbol. Okay, so this is input redirection symbol, and these two are output redirection symbols. So these two symbols, the one which is highlighted, these two symbols are used to send output to a file. This is to take input from a file instead of your keyboard. Instead of keyboard, you can take, means suppose say I want to add two numbers. I can input these two numbers from the keyboard. Now the input is going to this operation via your input device, that is keyboard. Instead of this, I will place some set of values in a file, and I will say take data from this file. Okay, now this file is the input to this operation. Okay, so using this symbol, or operator, we can send output. Sorry, we'll take input from the file. Okay, right. So these are the symbols. So we'll see some examples how to send output to a file. Okay. Suppose see ls minus lrt. If I execute this command, I'll get output on the screen. If I execute this command, I'll get output on the screen, right? Means this is the default media where you will get output. This is the default media where you will get output. Instead of this, I am sending this output to a file. Okay. That file name is, I am writing file name is files.txt. Okay, this is my file name. What is going to present in this file? The output of ls minus lrt command. Now run this command. See, here we didn't get any output on the screen. Why? Because the output is redirected to a file using the output redirect operator. Okay, let us check what is there in this file, cat files.txt. So without checking whether the file is created or not, I am going to display the file content. Why? Because after executing this command, I got command prompt, so that I am confident that this file is created. Okay, fine. Now run this. See here, this is the file content. Whatever the output you got using ls minus lrt, this output is redirected to this file, files.txt, using redirect operator. So anywhere you can use this redirect operator to send output to a file. Okay, suppose see ls minus lrt, here there is a file test. Okay, there is a file test. Let us check what is there in this file. Yeah, some information is there. So if I say cat test, it will output the file content to a default output media. Okay, it will output the file content to a default output media. Instead of this, I can send this output to some other file test. Using this operator, I can send the output to another file, new file. Suppose the file name is test1.txt. Okay, now see, I got command prompt, means this is executed. A new file is created with the same content of test. Let us see the file is created or not. Yes, it is created. Okay, check what is the file content. See, it is exactly similar to your test file. Okay, test file, right? So in this way, wherever you want, you can redirect the output to some file or to your default output media. Okay, so this is the redirect operator. Okay, so we know the difference between what do you call single greater than symbol output operator as well as double. Okay, single means every time it will overwrite. If you use only single output operator, suppose see what is the file content here. See, this is the output of this file. Here I am saying echo test, suppose sample text, output this operator. Instead of displaying this particular string onto your screen, we are redirecting this output to a file. That file is test1.txt. Okay, if you check the content of this file, this is the content. Okay, here I am using, this is the content. Here I am using single operator. Okay, so this will override the previous content. It will override the previous content. So previously there is some information in this file. It will delete this information and only new information will be stored into this file. Just run this command and see. Okay, now cat test1.txt. You will be having only this text. So previous one will be erased. So this will be completely erased. and the new text or information what you specify, that only presents in this. Okay, suppose if you use double. Okay, so this is also another output redirector symbol. If we use this symbol and I am using the same file test1.txt, now if you run this command, this string will be outputted to this file, but it only appends to the file. So this operator will append information to the file. This is an existing file, so it appends the data. Okay, run this command and see test1.txt. Oh no. So sorry, we are trying to display test1. So this here the file name I specified text. Instead of test1 I specified text. So new file is created with this information. New file is created with this information. Let us run this again. Echo space, this is second line, in test1.txt file. Okay, now send this text or message to this file test1.txt file. So already there is one line, that is sample text. Okay, so this new text will be added to this file. Now see what is there in this file. See, second line. Oh, here I used single operator. Again I did mistake. So double greater than symbol space test1.txt. In the previous case, instead of using single, I used instead of using double, I used single. That's why the previous information is deleted and the new information is stored into this file. Okay. Now there is one line. Again, I am going to append another line to this file. Okay. Now cat test1.txt. See the content of this file. There are two lines in this file. So this double greater than, it will append the text. Okay, so it will append at the end of the file. Single, it will delete the previous information or existing information, and only new information will be stored into the file. Okay, so this is output redirector operator. Okay, so next to input redirector operator. Okay, so we'll see this example when we are going to discuss about some scripting. There we'll see the examples on this input redirector. While writing script, suppose if you are using some for loops or while loops, okay, and you are taking some input from a file, there you can use input redirector operator, and this will input data to the looping statement. So we'll discuss, or we'll see one example or more examples when we start scripting part. Okay. Okay. So till now we have discussed what is shell and what are different shells in Unix operating system. So basically mainly we are going to see the advanced one, that is Corn shell, which is developed at AT&T laboratories. Okay. So next, what is Unix session? Session is nothing but your login to logout. Simple. What is current shell? How to check the current shell path. So $0 will give you the current, whatever the shell you have or you are working with, that shell name will be displayed, and $shell variable will display the shell path, okay, or your shell. Next, streams, standard streams. We have only two kind of streams. One is input stream, output stream. This stream is nothing but the media which you are using for input purpose. Here, this is the stream is nothing but the media which you are using for output purpose. So we have two kinds of streams. One is input, another one is output. Input stream is nothing but it can be your keyboard or a file. Output stream, your screen, or it can be a file. So this is about streams. Next, redirection. So here the word itself tells directing to some other, okay, directing to redirect, direct to some other location, okay. So here we have two kinds of redirection symbols. One is output redirection or output redirect operator. Another one is input. So for output purpose, these are the two symbols which we use. The difference between single operator and double greater than operator is single one will override the existing information and only new information will present in the file, or new information will be stored into the file, okay. So next one is input redirection symbol. So here, instead of supplying input from your standard input device, that is keyboard, you can supply it from a file. You can give input from a file, okay. So for that purpose you can use less than symbol. So this is the operator used for inputting from file, okay. It's very simple. Suppose I'll show you one example syntactically. Suppose here you are using some for loop, okay. So this is your beginning of the for loop and this is the end of your for loop. Here you are doing some operations, okay. So assume that there is a file tables.txt. So this table.txt file contains some list of tables and you are making some operations on these tables, like assume that the operation is displaying the content of the table, okay. You are selecting the information from the each and every table. This file has some set of 10 tables, okay. If you want to display the records, number of records present in this, in each table, then you have to take first table, then process it, okay, then process it. Next, take second table from this file and process it. Take third table from the file and process it. So here the input for this processing is supplying from the file, okay, using this input operator, okay. So in this way you can use. There are different scenarios where you can use input, okay. If you require input from a file, wherever you want you can use, okay. So next, in the next session we'll discuss about pipes, T command, okay. So T command is simple, sending output to more than one, okay. So next, to command execution, how commands will be executed. Pipe symbol is nothing but sending one output to another, okay. We'll see examples. It is very easy. So next, to how command will be executed, what are different codes, command substitution, job control, aliases, variables in the next session, okay. Thank you. I'll say this.